On the weekends, we love to indulge in just a fabulous breakfast. And recently, my kids have started to get really involved in the kitchen, and they'll take turns to prepare a wonderful breakfast for us. Recently, Sammy's been into making waffles, and it's just a beautiful recipe that I have in my cookbook that he just simply follows the steps and prepares. I'm going to show you how to prepare this, and I really hope you guys enjoy it, and do make it with your kids, and it's just a super indulgent. Now, I've changed this recipe slightly. In my book, I use just figs and strawberries as a topping. Today, I'll be making a beautiful strawberry compote, which just is a perfect addition to this recipe. We're going to start off by preparing the waffles. Now, I like to simplify recipes, and for this recipe, we're going to prepare our dry ingredients, our wet ingredients, and then we'll combine everything together. For the dry ingredients, I've got a large bowl, and in it, I'll add my flour, sugar, baking powder, and salt. And I'm going to be using a whisk to just add some air to the dry ingredients. An alternative way, or a more traditional way, is to just sift everything together, but I just find the whisk so much easier. And I'll just keep this aside, and I'll prepare my wet ingredients. What makes this waffle recipe so special is that I separate the eggs. So I'll combine the egg yolks with the wet ingredients, and then I'll whisk the whites to get this beautiful, cloudy, fluffy texture, which just adds a lot of volume and just a really nice texture to my waffles. For the eggs, what I'm going to do is separate them. And I always like to break my eggs in a small bowl before I separate them. This just ensures that if I have any eggshells or any parts of the egg that I don't want, let's say if the egg is a bit bad, you can just discard it and then go and use a new one, rather than putting everything into one bowl and then really ruining it. So I'll just show you how I just separate it. I just separate it like this, and just go back and forth until all the egg whites are properly discarded. And yeah, I'm happy with that. So I'll put the egg yolk into the medium bowl, and I'll put the egg whites into my stand mixer bowl. Oops. So yeah, this one you see has cracked egg yolks, so I'll start again. And you want this part to go into the white mixture. I'm just going to use a whisk attachment to whisk my eggs. Okay, my egg whites are ready. And I have to say, it's really amazing when you think about how just by simply whisking egg whites, this is what it creates. Kids call it magic. All right, so we've got our egg whites ready. I'm going to prepare my wet ingredients. For the wet ingredients, I've got my egg yolks, and to it, I'll add my milk. And I like to whisk it before I add in the butter. This way it ensures that my egg yolks don't curdle when I add the melted butter into it. And now I'll add my melted butter. and my vanilla. Mix everything and we're ready. Okay, so my dry ingredients, my wet ingredients, and my whisked egg whites are ready. So all I have to do is just combine everything. So I'll just pour the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients. And just give this a nice mix. Finally, add in my egg whites. And you're just going to want to gently fold the egg whites in. You don't want to over mix because it defeats the whole purpose of whisking the egg whites separately. Just simply rotate your bowl and fold in. And you'll notice that it's still a bit fluffy with the egg whites, and that's how you want that consistency to be. So my batter is ready, and I'm just going to take my waffle iron out and we can start making our waffles. It's important to remember to preheat your waffle maker before you start adding the batter in. So I'm gonna let this heat up and I'll start preparing this beautiful mascarpone cheese and double cream mixture. And now this is what's gonna make this waffle super indulgent and super tasty. For the cream mixture, it's a very simple recipe. I just combine a double cream, now that's some really super rich cream. And I'll add to it some mascarpone. Ha. Ha. Sometimes we try to make this look very elegant, but it doesn't always work out. And icing sugar. Now, typically for this recipe, I'd add lemon zest, but to be honest, I'm out. So why not become creative and try alternative ingredients? And oranges always hit the spot. So I'll just add in some orange zest. You can add vanilla in if you want, it's not necessary. And just whisk everything together. It's ready. Oh, wow. And my cream is ready. I'm just gonna move this out of the way so that we can finish this recipe. So I'm using a really nice waffle maker that allows me to set the time of my waffle based on the type of waffle recipe that I'm using. Now, there are different types of recipes. I'm using a Belgian waffle recipe, which basically implies that you're separating the egg yolks from the egg whites and not mixing them at the same time together. And I don't want this to be super dark. I want it to have a nice golden brown color. So I'll just let it cook for about 4 minutes, give or take. You don't want to overfill your waffle maker because you don't want the waffle batter to just seep on the sides. And you'll notice it's just about 3/4 full, or 3/4 of a cup. And I'll just let this go down. And I'll set the timer. So that's about 4 minutes. And in the meantime, I'll start preparing my strawberry compote. And you'll notice that everything's happening at the same time because it's just one of those really simple recipes in the sense that you don't need to pre-make or prepare something well in advance. It can all be done within that same time that you're cooking your waffles. I've got these gorgeous strawberries that are locally produced from the UAE. And I have to say, I love that you can start finding local produced items. Recently, I've noticed that Spinneys and Waitrose are selling berries that are produced in the UAE, which is super exciting, I have to say. And all I'm gonna do is cut my berries, depending on the size, in half or in quarters. So this is a bit bigger, I'll cut it in quarter. And I'm gonna add some orange zest to the strawberries. Now you can add orange or lemon, either works. Finally, some of this gorgeous orange juice. Just be careful not to add in the seeds. You don't want that in your compote. Okay. And finally, I'll add about, let's say, a couple of tablespoons of sugar. I'll share the exact quantities in the recipe below, but I'm just eyeballing it for now. And I'll just cook this on the heat. And this doesn't really need much time to prepare. I just want my strawberries to soften. I don't want them to be totally mashed up. And it's just a nice syrup will develop from the fruits, and it's just going to be a beautiful addition to our waffles. This is looking amazing. You know, I don't want to cook this any further just because I want to keep that beautiful shape of the strawberries. And I love the syrupy consistency. That's going to be a wonderful addition to my waffles. I'm just going to turn off the heat and pour this in a bowl. Okay. Just look at this beautiful strawberry compote. You'll notice that the strawberries haven't lost their shape. So it's just going to be a really nice layer of texture into this dish. This waffle batch is ready, and you just want to gently remove. And I'm placing it on this cooling rack. It's really important to allow your waffles to cool on a rack so that the steam doesn't make your waffles soggy. And we'll just repeat the same process. So this recipe should make about 6 to 8 waffles, and it really depends on your waffle maker. So this recipe is making me 7.5 waffles. Still good. Usually when I make it for my kids, we double the batter quantity. And I'm just going to serve up my cream mixture. Now comes the assembly. I'm going to take 2 pieces of waffles, place them however way you like. And I'll add a dollop of this cream, this rich, decadent cream. And top it with my strawberries. Look at how amazing that looks. And just add some syrup. I also like to add some fresh strawberries. The balance of the cooked strawberries versus the fresh strawberries just together is really nice. And that's it. This recipe is done. A wonderful, decadent, and delicious waffle recipe, perfect for the weekends. Get the family involved, prepare this together, and hope you guys enjoy. See you guys later. Now make sure you get a bit of everything. I could have this for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The orange zest really was a nice addition. I'm so glad I didn't have lemon today. So good, so good. Make it at home. Try it and let me know what you think.